Well, Fred, nice to stop by. You have a really nice place here.
Thank you.
I want you to talk to me about your experience with your E500 and why you came to select this unit and how it's been working out for you.
Well, this is actually our second unit. We had a unit here before that burned cordwood, and we got the date up there. 4 years ago, we switched to the chips for obvious reasons. We burn about between 30 and 40 cordwood a year, and it was getting to be quite a problem to have the help on the weekends and make the next cord and a half for the next week. We backed the wagons right in here. They were backed in here, and we unloaded them into the stove. That was convenient enough just to make the product, was what our issue was. So when I talked to Jeff, and he talked about retrofitting our original unit, but it sounded like it would be better to go modernize the whole thing because we got the air cleaner with this one, and plus, of course, the drop tube for the chips on top. I came about this unit from a friend of mine, a farmer up in Conway, Mass, who had a small one, and when I told him that I was going to go to a remote stove, he said the only one to buy was this unit, and I kind of agree with him. Today we had actually an engineer help me lay out this physical plant, and had actually sold me a different unit, and it was delivered here, and we ended up getting rid of that because it just we never even installed it. It's just the whole idea about how the air moved through that, and everything was just much more complicated, and didn't have a very good history behind it. So we ended up getting the wood gun unit, and we're really happy with it. Maintenance on it's been minimal. I had Jeff's crew come up here last year for go through his son, and they did a really good job. Our service, any questions we've had have always been really well addressed by Jeff, and his son was real good. So I don't know. I think basically it's been a real sound unit. We've heated for wood for many years, but usually each house had a wood stove, and we dealt with small chunks of wood. This is our first experience with a central boiler, and real happy with it. I tried to figure out last night. I think we heat about 7,000 square feet of floor space, plus we do have an indoor pool in our house. And just have no problem keeping up with it. We run it now to 205 degrees is the upper limit on the boiler, and I think we have leeway there if we needed it, but it's been a really cold winter. It hasn't let us down, so it seems to take care of everything pretty good.
So how many different buildings are you heating?
Well, we're actually heating the old farmhouse, which is down there, which is about 1,700 square feet, and then we have I made a barn addition to that about 15 years ago where we live. That's about 2,000 square feet, and in that building is where the pool is. And then we have our office, the veterinary office is up here. That's 1,700 square feet, and then we have a farm shop, which is another about 1,700 square feet. So that's and this building here actually with the unit this is all heated. Everything is radiant, floor, radiant heat in the floor. The farm shop unfortunately that's hot air, but run off this. But that was just built about 5 years before we really got to hot for the radiant. And the old farmhouse actually is a hot air handler too. And those air handlers are 140 degrees is what you got to present to the unit. So most of our water storage, we have 1,200 gallons of water in the ground over there. We have 600 there, and I think there's 200 in the boiler. Is that right?
200.
That's pretty close, yeah. So we got about 2,000 gallons of water at about 170 degrees. Most varies between maybe 160 and 170, and that's our storage. The tank in the ground over there does the big my farmhouse and our house and that pool. This tank here does the office and the shop in this room. So that's pretty much it. The chip business, we have a tank over here that we fill twice a day. And then, you know, the feed is automatic off that, of course. And then we have the big bin here that we fill once a week. And so we fill that once a week, and then twice a day I come in and we just run chips into a smaller tank. It pretty well takes care of it. It's about, Jeff one time told me he's burning around 5 to 10 gallons an hour of water, you know, 5 to 10 gallons of volume an hour. And that's how when he told me that, that's how I figured out all the, you know, the 12-hour bin and so forth, and it worked. That's really pretty much it. That's about what it does. That's all it takes.
So how do you source your wood chips?
Well, we're very lucky there. We have a outfit next door, pretty good friends of mine that they do land clearing. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So they have. We played around a lot with the size of chip and everything. I think this year they've got a pretty good handle on it.
The quality of the chips looks really quite good.
Yeah, they are. I think. Yeah, they are. He has a pretty good screener, so he screens out any. I know that early on Jeff was said no leaves or branches or anything like that. And it's pretty much it. Sometimes they do have a issue. And we'll get batches where there'll be some bigger pieces, but it seems to handle it. The air handler handles pretty well, and we've had very little trouble with that.
Okay. Any issues with any part of the feeding operation? What diameter is your auger?
What is that? That's 8 inches, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. No, it is. Yeah.
No, that's working out for you. Okay.
Yeah. That was a pretty good learning curve there that I didn't really know anything about, and I think that's one thing that I could have made this other building about a foot higher to bring the auger a little flatter. I didn't, but it's less than 45 degrees, and I know that the fellow we bought was one of Jeff's friends down there. I can't remember the name of the company now. That was a big deal, not to get that auger over. Keep that auger as flat as possible. And if I were to do, you know, redesign it, I would do that. I probably would have raised that floor and kept that auger a little less acute. But it never plugs up, but there's no issue there with it really at all.
Yes. Probably L&R.
L&R, that was the guy. Yeah, good man.
Yeah, they're good people.
Yeah, we built a bin, but they provided the hopper connection to the auger. He did that, and we just put the bin on top of that. Yeah.
Anything you would do differently?
Not, you know, the one thing not the only thing I would do differently would be to make the auger flatter. And not that it really has given us much problem, but just from what I've read now, it would be a little bit, the feed a little bit easier.
Okay.
And the grade, by raising that floor too, probably a bigger issue is that outside, the way the grade is, that it would be a more level approach to fill this bulk wagon, you know. No, yeah, right. And I would see, we had the old stove, did not have the air cleaner or anything. I think that was a real good addition. Nice, real nice addition.
The air cleaner is working out for you.
Yeah, I think, you know, the only thing now this year that we've done so far, we've run it since October 26th. We started this fall, and twice I've cleaned that central tunnel out. Other than that, it's running perfect. As far as the firebox, I think when we had the cordwood, we didn't have the fan and stuff as tuned as well as we do now. We used to have to clean the firebox out. Put the firebox down.
Yeah, tell me about using.
It'll burn clean.
Tell me about using that air cleaner. How does that work for you? What's the process for making use of that?
It just automatically
Okay, so you're not,
flushes it out. No, we don't manually do
you don't
anything. It's
touch
all
it, it
tape.
just takes care of it.
Kind of surprised you every once in a while. You walk in here and you hear it go off, and you go, whoa! It's just fun, you know, the noise of the air cleaner going off. But no, it's not a. You don't even deal with it at all.
Okay.
I think that when the men came up this summer, they redid all the door gaskets and everything, and of course, you know, that was, if you think about it, that was in a good 3 years, so probably 100 quart of wood anyway. I don't know if that's what's, a couple of them they thought that we were okay, but I said, hey, you're here, just replace it, it wasn't that big a deal. And I think that's probably an important consideration to make the thing run right, you know? Really keep that nice and tight, keep the air, the supply of air coming from where it's supposed to come from, and not extraneous places. I guess, you know, that's really best I can say.
Okay. And if somebody were here looking at this unit and thinking about whether to get one or not, what would you tell them?
Well, my only thing is if you want to burn wood, I don't know how better way you could do it, really.
Okay.
You know, I looked into a lot of different ways to present the wood to the furnace, and I talked to a fellow, a big nursery guy in the eastern part of the state down near Boston, and who burned a lot of chips from me. I knew him from my supplier next door, my neighbor. And he said the only way to really move chips is with a continuous apron chip. And that's where I came up with the fact. I originally thought maybe a bin here with an auger in the bottom of it or something, but a big bin. And he's the guy that told me that they move really well with a floor conveyor rather than trying to auger through a pile. I think he was right on with that one. They had a pretty big auger, a pretty big bed chain in their outfit. Pretty much it.
Okay, well, that's great. That's a big help to you.
Good.